Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy TheGamingTrouge here, and we have finally made it to the Halo 3 ODST video. I've been wanting to talk about this game for a long time, but unfortunately, just stuff kept piling up. I had a lot of delays with this game, so we are finally going to be talking about it. So sit back, relax, and let's get into why Halo 3 ODST is a little different from your typical Halo adventure. Despite the cultural impact that the Halo trilogy had on people, Bungie did not want to keep making Halo games. They loved the fan base and they didn't want to leave them just hanging dry, but at the same time they wanted to work on other video game projects, because remember, they didn't really just do Halo, they did other video games as well, and to see them basically drop every other project just for Halo is kind of sad looking back in hindsight. Also, Microsoft wanted to keep making Halo a yearly franchise, despite if Bungie made the games or not, evident by Halo Wars. But unfortunately, Bungie was just in this sticky spot that they just wanted to be creative, but higher ups just won't allow them to. And that's kind of crazy given the fact that Microsoft wouldn't be in the gaming spot without Bungie. One would think that they can give them a little slack and actually give them the creative power to make whatever the heck they want. Heck, Sonic Team made more games than Bungie whenever they were owned by Microsoft. Like, what the heck? But despite the odds, despite when all hope seems lost, Bungie actually got back their independence. They just need to make 2 more Halo video games, and by the end of the 10th year, they will be completely done with the Halo franchise, giving the reins to 343 Industries. We are almost there, ladies and gentlemen. I know some of you guys are waiting for me to tell into the 343 Industries. So yeah, 2 video games, a side story and a prequel. Oh, my Kingdom Hearts centers are going off the charts. For the first project is the side story taking place in between Halos 2 and 3, basically filling in the blanks of what happened after Numabasa got nuked off the face of the earth, it looked like. This game was going for a film noir type of detective style game to kind of uncover the mystery of what happened to the city and why the Covenant was so keen on taking this city over, as well as it being sort of an open world. Think of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and how basically there's a big open spot that you can go to, but there's still many sort of levels that you can go and explore by basically uncovering the secrets of the past. Also, you're no longer controlling Master Chief, however you are controlling a ODST, a Swan-like soldier that's not as strong as a Spartan, and basically is more or less a normal everyday soldier trying to fight to stay alive. This was a completely different direction from any of the other Halo experiences, so much so that the main Halo theme is nowhere to be seen in this game. To kind of drop the gun, the music in this game is really well done, but there is no trace of the original Halo theme in this game, and honestly, I think it works really well for this title. It's a different take. You're no longer the bombastic Master Chief, you're just an everyday soldier. The game launched in 2009, and honestly, it didn't do terribly as much as Halo 3, but it was still a financial success, and a lot of people still love this game. However, when time passes, I hear less and less people talk about this game, other than the music. A lot of people love the ODST music, and even fall asleep to it. Honestly, I can't blame them. Alongside having a beta for Halo Reach, this also comes with a full disc containing all of Halo 3's maps for multiplayer. We don't have a traditional Slayer mode to kind of talk about the multiplayer real quick, but we do have this fancy mode called Firefight, where you and up to 3 people basically fight to survive in this PvE mode. And honestly, I think PvE works really well with this game. Honestly, out of all the Firefight modes that ever came out, I feel like that this one is one of the best ones, with the next game being a very close second. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to a community member and a close friend of mine, Spoon, for basically helping me out. He basically lost his entire mind when we were playing Firefight, but we had so many good laughs, and honestly, I wouldn't be able to get the multiplayer footage without you, so thank you so very much, man. So, with Master Chief out of the spotlight, how does a Halo game function? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's find out. This is Halo 3 ODST.
Check your mounts, find your chairs, and Get set for a combat drop.
Okay, let's see if I can do this, gamers. During the events of the new Mabasa era of Halo 2, up above is the ODSTs preparing for their mission to basically land on a Covenant airship and basically destroy them to Kingdom Come. Alongside them is Dutch, Mickey, Romeo, and the Wookiee, which is basically the player character for this game. Alongside the team is Bucky and the gold named Dare, and Bucky and Dare may or may not have had feelings for one each other before the war truly began, and we get touches here and there about the backstory, but it's basically secondary compared to the main plot. After a little bit of friendly fire, we end up following the pods, and the events of Halo 2 unfold, basically knocking out the ODSTs and splitting up the gang. But as the Wookiee comes to, he slowly wakes up and finds himself basically in a wasteland, a city that once was. And as he gets up, he starts slowly putting the pieces together of what happened to his lost crew, and the music here just fits so perfectly. As the Wookiee is trying to find pieces of its past, we get flashbacks to earlier events, basically showing off why the item ended up where it ended up. While this is harder for me to recap fully in a video, I honestly really do like the way that this story is portrayed, and I really do enjoy the way that the cutscenes integrate with the gameplay. It makes it feel like you're really there, and this came out in 2008. But I will say, reviewing this story in a general sense, it's definitely pretty hard for me to do because there's not very much of an overarching story that goes on between all these. Yeah, there's some stuff here and there that are more important to the plot than others, but then there's some missions where you're just helping out the locals basically fight off the Covenant, and it doesn't really add too much to the overall story. This plot is way more character-oriented than any of the other Halo games I've looked at, so definitely talking about the story is a little bit hard for me to do, but I'll do my best. But I apologize if I'm skimming over a couple of things. For a good chunk of the story, it's basically Buck trying to find the remaining members of his team and fighting off Covenant. It's not until near the end of the video game where the story really starts to take off. Throughout the game, when you're playing as the Wookiee, you will come across these kiosks right here explain a different story, the day of the attack, also known as Sadie's story. Explain one crucial detail about this city, is that the fact that this entire city was run by one AI known as the Superintendent. To be completely honest, this is one of the most confusing stories in all of Halo, so thanks to GiantBomb.net, it helps me explain it just a little bit better. Basically, on the day of the attack, the SI was severely damaged and corrupt, and it did manage to send out a city worldwide emergency and evacuation, and even the extraction of Virgil. No, not that one. Virgil was created by one Daniel to look after his daughter Sadie because her mother ended up dying. When the Covenant invasion of Earth attack and the attack of Mabasa took place, Virgil was instrumental in Sadie's escape from harm, basically getting her out of tough situations and making sure she didn't end up dying. But that didn't do much for now, as Sadie is now in the care of the UNSC Marines and Virgil is greatly damaged thanks to the Superintendent getting shut down by Commander Keenstar. Now, where does our main characters come into play? Well, after reuniting with Dare, the Wookiee finds out that basically Virgil has the access to go into the Covenant BattleNet and basically give out all the details of the Covenant that they need in order to win the war, and kind of so the events of Halo 3 can work. Buck and Dare get back together, they get Virgil to safety, basically ending this crazy night that is Halo ODST, and as the game flies off, the Covenant have destroyed this city for good. Millions has lost their life to this one city, and humanity ended up failing. The Covenant reigns supreme. In an end credits scene, we see a familiar face start to begin to interrogate Virgil, basically giving them the details that they need to go and stop this war for good.
They're digging a mighty big hole. You're gonna tell me exactly what they're looking for, and then you're gonna help me stop them.
Holy cow, are we even in the same universe anymore? What started as humanity's last hope with the super soldier serum that can make Captain America blush has now turned into a more grounded story, a character-driven story that really does remind me of Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2. I try to make these reviews as general as possible, and when ODST has two stories to follow, one of them being stuck with audio only, it's very hard for me to retain that type of memory and try to explain it in video format. Heck, there's tons of people that have already gone over details on how good the story is. I feel like I personally just barely cracked the surface whenever it came to discussions of this game's story and especially its themes. But the best thing about this narrative is Buck and his entire crew. The crew of the ODSTs are very likable. Some of them you might get on your nerves a little bit, but the characters that are most important, like Buck and Dare, they are very well portrayed in this game. And yes, sure, the relationship doesn't go much beyond just off-screen shenanigans. I still like that they got back together, because you can still tell that no matter what, they'll still fight for each other, and honestly, it's one of my favorite couples here in gaming. I will say this, these group of characters with this type of story works super perfectly, and honestly, I won't change anything about it. But the one point of criticism I have with this story is the fact that these are audio logs. These are not full-fledged cutscenes. You don't really get the same experience with an audio log like you do with a full-fledged cutscene. That and characters can still attack you when you're listening to this, so best of luck trying to pay attention. However, as a fun side story to the Halo universe, I think this story looks super well, and despite all my criticisms, I still think that this is one of the best character-written stories that the Halo franchise have ever done. But how about the gameplay? You no longer play as the Master Chief, you're now an everyday ODST. So what gameplay differences are there? Let's go find out. No! There are two main gameplay differences when you play this game. First, when you play as the Wookiee, basically you have this type of map feature that you can go and listen to the audio logs on, as well as basically give you clues of where to go next. Also, you have nighttime vision to make all the nighttime city stuff glow a little bit brighter, and yes, you basically need to use this in order to see anything during the Wookiee's campaign side. There's not too many noticeable new weapons in this game. There is the Silence SMG and the Silence Pistol, which basically kind of feels like better versions of the pistol and SMG. So because you're playing as a soldier, you take damage very easily in this game. You can't just keep running gunning like you could in the previous 3 games. You have to take cover, you have to make sure you plan out your attacks properly, because if you don't, your screen starts to turn red and you're gonna go down faster than my intelligence. So to put this in layman's terms,
You are too weak!
despite playing the game at an easier difficulty like normal, you will still die a heck of a lot times because you are just inherently more weaker than the Master Chief. Despite only having 9 missions, 3 missions made me want to rage so badly that I switched to a completely different video game. One of them being the first level you play as Buck. You can get used to it, however, and there is still a really good time to be had with this video game, but in all honesty, if you're looking for an easy Halo experience, stay the heck away from this video game. Like, if you're not big into first-person shooters, I would not recommend this game as your first-person shooter, but if you're willing to go for a challenge, like a hardcore NES challenge, then I would 100% give this game a shot. It has that same satisfaction as like the OG Castlevania has for me. And with the multiplayer basically just being a giant co-op experience, this game basically requires that you have a buddy by your side to get the most out of it. But unlike other video games, it's most certainly not required. I compare this a lot to F-Zero GX, a game that is super fast paced and super hard, but when you finish a level, you just feel like you did it, you accomplished something. That's my entire feelings of Halo 3 ODST. Every time I got stuck at a level and then I actually overcame it, I felt overpowered, I felt better, and uncovering the mystery of New Mombasa is something that I would never forget. This game is one of the great Halo games. It goes right next to Halo 2 and 3 for me. Right there in the nice little sandwich. But the next time we meet up in the Halo series, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be wrapping up the Bungie era with Halo Reach. A game that definitely made me cry whenever I first played it. So thank you guys so very much for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic night. And as always, keep gaming.
Hello Post Ty here. I can't record this part because my roommate is asleep, but I wanted to say that I have a fat community post dropping soon with plans and updates to this page. I hope you all understand I missed making these videos for ya, and I can't wait to see what we have in store, gamers.
Special thanks to KattChatt for being a member of the Kingdom Keepers. If you want to support the Gaming Trouge, follow my links down below.